Hello there, Ian here, and great to be with you once again. We're here, the last quarter of the calendar year. I hope that Q4 has started well for you, and I hope you're in good spirits. And today we're going to be talking about salaries and money, often a very sensitive subject in some circles. But in many respects, I don't think it needs to be. And I'll give you some ideas on the benefits of actually being open about salary scales and who gets paid what. But the inspiration to share this piece with you came from a conversation I was having last week. Very busy week for us. We did 3 back-to-back 90-day or quarterly planning sessions. And it was a conversation I had after the last one that really gave me the inspiration to share these ideas with you. And the background went something like this. I had been commenting on the fact that I thought it was generally a good principle to be open about salaries. And then I was asked a question. One of the people in the group had worked with a company, and there were 2 departments in the story. One was an electrical test facility, and the other was a boiler room. Now, as you can possibly imagine, the boiler room working conditions were a bit more uncomfortable than the electrical test facility. And the boiler room was also a little bit more dangerous. There was a present, but fairly small risk, but a present risk of personal injury in the boiler room. So the management decided that they would pay the boiler room staff a higher salary. Not a huge amount more, but a significant amount more. So you can probably tell what happened then, because either the management had made a declaration that this would happen, I'm not sure, but either way it became known that the boiler room staff were getting paid more. So what happened then was, whenever collaboration was needed or whenever problems needed to be solved, if the boiler room required the help of the electrical department, the electrical guy said, sorry, you're getting paid more money, you sort it out. Why should we help you? You're on a higher salary. So I was asked, what would you do about that? So the first thing, and I'll get to my answer, but the first thing, opening up the salary bands, I think is a good idea. Because when you have anything that is kept a secret, there's always a bit of mystery and intrigue that goes along. And I'm sure you can maybe remember a time in your own lives, I certainly can, when you look at the person next to you and think, I wonder how much he's getting paid. I wonder how much she earns. We're doing the same job. I'm working very hard. I hope that we are at least getting the same money. So there's always a bit of intrigue. How much bonus did they get, versus what I got? And then, of course, there are festivals in this part of the world, particularly those around the common festivals, Christmas, Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, and how much are in each of those little packets of money that get handed around. Whenever there is secrecy, there is 2 things. One is mystery and questions that go on in the minds of the team members, but also, if things are kept secret, there's the possibility for poor decisions to be made, because there is reduced accountability. If things are secret, no matter what they are, there is the potential for poor decisions because of lack of accountability. So I think opening up the salary is generally a good thing. If there are differences, they can be sorted out. But here is the master key. So this gets back to my answer to the question that was raised. So how would you handle those 2 departments not collaborating because one was getting paid more? I said, fine, but there's a step that companies need to adopt before they open up the books. And that is one of my favorite topics of company performance, and that is, of course, your company values. Values are often overlooked. Companies either don't have a solid set of values, or they were determined by somebody else outside the company. They were downloaded from the internet. That's a popular way to do it. But there either isn't an agreed set of values, or the values are there but nobody really lives by them. So the first step always is make sure that everybody agrees what the values are. If you have to re-educate people on what they are and why they are what they are, then that's the first step, re-education. Make sure that people have actual examples of how to live these values every day that they're in the company. Make sure that it's absolutely well understood that these are the values and this is how to live by those values. When that bedrock is solidified, then you have the opportunity to do things like lifting the curtain on salaries. Maybe there's a bit of adjustment that you would have to make before then. Maybe currently there is a disparity in people's salaries. That's okay. Maybe in the past you had to pay someone slightly more to acquire them from another company. Maybe you made other specific arrangements on an individual basis. When you lift the curtain, those differences become exposed. Provided you can say, well, okay, these are the differences, but here is our plan to bring them up to parity. We've done that in the past. We realise that, but we want to be clear and plain and open with you that we're going to redress the balance moving forward. You may be able to redress that balance right now before you lift the curtain. Either way, I think that opening up what people get paid is good, but you might have to do a bit of preparation and re-education before you do it. So getting back to the boiler room and the electrical guys, the basis of that decision, if I was that management team, I would have made sure that everybody understood the company's set of values. And if paying the boiler room staff more was in line with that set of values, and I could explain exactly why I had chosen to pay one department more, I think we would have been on a more secure footing. And by the way, do your values appeal to everybody? Maybe, even though the decision was in line with your company values, and you can explain exactly why you chose to pay that department more, maybe there was one or two in the neighbouring department that did not agree. Well, if people disagree fundamentally with your company values, maybe their path lies somewhere else. Maybe the future, their future is not with you. And that's okay. Doesn't make them bad people, but they're not going to align with where you're going in the long term. So I really hope that did make sense. Salaries, there's no real need, as far as I'm concerned, for secrecy. When you open up, you have better accountability, you can make better decisions, and if someone wants to get paid more, that's okay too. If you want to get paid more, take that story to management, and management should be able to say, fine, you want more money, that's okay. Find a way to contribute more, improve something, take on more responsibility, and then we can reward that with a higher salary. And if you are on a higher salary, you get held accountable too for your performance in respect of that higher salary. So I think there are real benefits to be made. If your values are unclear, fix those first. And I really did hope that made sense. And if there are any questions, by the way, if you want to email back, my email address is clear in this note, or in the note that the link to the video is in. Please email me back if you have any questions or comments, and I'd love to hear from them. I hope that made sense, and I look forward to sharing with you again soon.